I am here, part two with Santos Bonacci, my brother. We are making amends, simply wanting to work through our differences, in which we both apologize to our subscribers and to each other for both of us having misunderstandings and just lack of communication. So, that being said, I will give the floor to Santos Bonacci to speak more on what he wanted to say. So, Santos, please go ahead and speak.
Yeah, so where I was at was that fateful day, May the 13th, where I did the unthinkable. I was supposed to be in Hawaii marrying Violet during that week, because in April I was divorced, and in March the court on March the 26th, my mum's birthday, I was divorced, and then I needed to wait 1 month and 1 day for me to be able to remarry, which would bring me to about April, the end of April. So we were going to meet in Hawaii, and we were going to get a marriage celebrant to marry us in Hawaii in May. And it didn't work out that way. May was, my health just deteriorated. Everything went south, just went south. And on that fateful day, after I blocked Violet, it was a couple of hours, and I regretted it, of course. I repented, and I hastily tried to get back in and find how to unblock her. I had a big, long list. It took me a long time, and I was tired. I hadn't slept for weeks, and my eyes were dim, and I didn't even know how to do it on Skype. And when I went, eventually, Violet did it. She had my passwords, and she unblocked herself. But in the meantime, she had called my Australian phone, which was turned off. And later on that day, I opened the messages, and I heard Violet crying and begging me not to do what I had done, to leave her and to block her. And why are you treating me like this? And she was crying, and I think she called 3 times from California on my mobile cellular phone. And then she unblocked me on Skype, and the messages, I'll never forget the pain. And she was saying, why? Why are you doing this to me? Please, please don't do this. I love you, Santos, I love you. Please don't block me. Why? What did I do? Please. And ultimately she said, well, if that's your decision, so be it, Santos, but I will forever speak well of you. Now, I can't tell you how much pain that brings me when I go back and revisit those messages, Jay. I really did a number on Violet. She fell out of love with me from that moment. And although I called her that day and I begged her to forgive me, and she did. Again, she did. But from then on, everything went as well. As you know now, Violet's been in a relationship, and I want to say that they declared they were in a relationship by mid-June. And many people noticed this, and because they don't have the backstory, they are judging Violet to be hasty and to jump from one relationship to another one, and a lot of gossip has gone around, and I made a post on Facebook to settle that and give people the backstory as to why Violet is now happy in the arms of another man who looks after her and cares for her and treats her nice. And it breaks my heart. It broke my heart. As I said, I'm transmuting all things. You can imagine how painful it is. If you've been through it, you can commiserate. And I know that I fully deserve this. And I do, if anyone feels that I need to be forgiven, and I need to also forgive Violet, she's forgiven me, just so you know. She is so loving, and she forever loves me and forgives me. And I forgive her any indiscretion. If people feel that she's transitioned into a new life too quickly, and how could it be real love and blah, 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 I'm telling you, come to me, and I'll give you more of the story, and you will be horrified. I will reveal to you much, much more that I did in bad deeds. No violence, no hate, just anger and frustration and cruelty and things like that. Okay? Now, Violet knows that apart from that, I am the complete man for her, as she's always told me. We dance salsa together, we play music and sing together. She's a great musician, better than me. She plays percussion, trumpet, guitar, sings, and more. We do syncretism, astrology, veganism, flat earth, permaculture, alchemy, theology. These are all of our loves, and we did them daily, weekly, in the 9 months that we were intimate together, and fell in love and had many, many trials and many adversities at the same time. So I just want people to be at ease and be graceful in this matter and understand Violet's suffering and how a young woman in her 20s would want to be comforted in this situation. You know, it's emotional. Violet is very emotional, Piscean, and very sensitive. And I was very hurtful too many times. Fear not, folks. I'm not wallowing in any kind of misery. I'm just sharing my experience because I've known by many people, and I believe this will benefit them, because you will be reminded to love the one you're with. Love the ones, be kind to everybody around you. As Plato said, be kind to everyone, for you do not know what they are going through. And so I offer this as a sharing from my heart for the betterment of everybody, for the blessings of everybody, you know. I'm sure that I would still be in Violet's arms and we'd be married today if I protected myself from the nasties. So know your weaknesses, know your astrology, know if you've got Mars in the 12th house as I do, you will have hidden enemies. And if you have 7 planets in the 7th house, which are public enemies, so I've got 8 of my 10 planets in the 7th and 12th house, including Rahu, the North Node, in the 12th house, in the house of hidden enemies, 12th house, and public enemies, 7th house, where Saturn is there, and also other planets that can be malefic at times, Mercury and the Sun. I've got the Moon there that can be malefic, and Venus as well, and Jupiter. 7 planets in the house of public enemies, and philosophy, divination, health, etc., along with partners and marriage. So, you know, you can see that I've had 2 marriages prior to Violet. I call Violet's relationship my 3rd marriage and my virgin bride, as we practiced only pure 100% non-ejaculatory tantric sex, in which we sent our orgasms up our spine and illuminated our consciousness and expanded our consciousness. And you will see that Violet is a very, very conscious woman due to that consciousness expansion. And I have ascended my consciousness very, very much due to this pure sex. Let me say that the best alchemy, folks, is sexual alchemy. Please find a loved one. Please know that sex practiced correctly is divine, and you can have as many orgasms as you wish, as the Lord and the Creator wishes for you to have. I have multiple orgasms, but I never ejaculate. Since the middle of 2012, when I made a decision after practicing for 5 years on and off, both kinds, black tantra and white tantra and grey tantra, and being frustrated due to the fact that every time I ejaculated, I was shameful, guilty, tired, depressed, and fearful and stressful. And it was the worst. I discovered that the ejaculation is the most harmful and detrimental thing to the health of the individual, including women. Women ejaculate as well. They need to be in control of their vessels as well. So when you learn to have beautiful sex where you are paying your tithes, which is what it means to raise the charisma, and hence be charismatic. And when you raise the charisma, as Moses did in the wilderness, he raised the serpent and it was born again and lifted up the Son of Man. So let us lift up the Son of Man with pure sex. And as Violet and I practiced, you don't need contraceptives. So goodbye, contraceptive industry. You don't need abortions because it's 100% infallible. Well, I can prove that because for 9 months, Violet and I, we enjoyed sexual intimacy daily. To be very generous with my sharings, and I hope I don't embarrass Violet, some days it was very, durable and extensive. And Violet, being a very fertile girl, is not pregnant with my child. So it does work, people, and it is blissful. Just if you want to know how blissful it is, just write to Violet, and she'll tell you. Or write to me, and it is holy, and it's godly, and it will save you. It is the salvation of the individual. People who ejaculate are hurting themselves. You will get old. You will get senile. You will get godless. You will lose your charisma because it's the chrism. And when you ejaculate the chrism, the Christ, you lose your charisma. And hence you see the grey eyes of those who practice this. Now, no judgment on those who are slipping up. I slipped up for 5 years, I know what it's like. So put a goal ahead of you and reach out to be excellent. The way to achieve this is to squeeze the muscles at the perineum and learn to exercise those muscles. Once you've got control of those, then at the moment of the orgasm, the orgasm, or rather the ejaculation, all you need to do is touch those muscles with a magnetic, electromagnetic pulse, and you don't have to exert too much energy. And you just lightly shut those muscles and think the orgasm up the spine. Implode it. Breathe it inward. Feel it go up your spine, and you will feel this massive electromagnetic what's the word I'm looking for? Not pulse, but wave. Channel up your spine. And when you learn to control the speed at which it climbs up, because it can be very quick, guys. So you want to control it because that's your orgasm. That's your internal orgasm. And it starts at the bottom, and then you just control it. And then you feel it up, and you climb it up, and it goes up Jacob's ladder, comes up to the third ventricle. And then once that happens, the oneness of the consciousness of yourself making love becomes a reality. And I remember reaching that many times with Violet to certain degrees. Sometimes strong, sometimes not so strong. But I always reached that place where I was one with my goddess and my twin and my flame. And I remember that, and it's a gift because I have reached the high heaven with Violet. So I want people to know, because many write to me and ask, Santos, have you raised the chrism? Yes, I do it the best way sexually, folks. Some do it with meditation. They're not right into sex. Well, I'm both. I must be bisexual because I like doing it, being sannyas and celibate and not having sex sometimes. And then when the urge comes and I feel that I want to use electricity to ascend, then I use internal electricity, and I channel my orgasms up the spine. And let me tell you, folks, this is Saint Michael and Saint George slaying the dragon. The dragon is the serpent that Moses raises from the kundalini up the spine. And then that electrical energy is so beautiful to experience and blissful. It's irresistible. But it's so powerful that when you are intimate with your partner and you bring the orgasm on, and rather than being incontinent and incompetent and losing those fluids, hence becoming Onan, the son of Judah, who was considered a seed waster, you see. He was killed by God in the Bible because he wasted his seed. He didn't use it for goodness, for making something, a child or conscious. Those child are not supposed to be physical children. They are children of consciousness. So we're supposed to raise our consciousness. And so the most wonderful thing for a man, listen up, guys, young and old, listen up. The most wonderful thing and empowering thing for you to say you is to not ejaculate and channel that beautiful energy up the spine, and you will love yourself. The more you do this, the more you will love yourself, and you won't cause harm to others because you will be operating out of love forever once you find that love. So, and remember to have control with your breathing. It's the muscles down below and the breathing. That's the secret, folks. Okay? For women and men. I'm sharing this intimately and intricately because I've discovered this and it's blissful and I want to share it. It's the most important thing, how to raise the chrism. If meditation isn't working, or entheogens, or whatever other distractions and ways of raising the chrism doesn't work, saving the seed and those things, try sex. Watch the documentary, Sex, the Secret to the Garden of Eden, Sex, the Secret of the Garden of Eden, something like that. So watch that by Samael Aounweor, the author of that The Perfect Matrimony. So I did practice the perfect matrimony. I called Violet my virgin bride because I didn't defile her, not once. And she will attest to that if you care to, confirm it with her, not once. So I'm proud of that, guys, and I'm offering that not as a boast, I'm doing it to say to you, you can do it. You can ascend and you can be beautiful and you can love yourself as I've learnt to do. And that's the secret, folks. It was the secret for me. The secret was doing the healing. I did the San Pedro, I did ayahuasca, peyote. I did the entities, elimination of entities, and the dewormer to get rid of the parasites that the demons attach to, folks. They're in everything. There's no other cause of all diseases but parasites, folks. Whatever it is you have, Lyme's, lupus, Morgellons, fibromyalgia, it's parasites. So attend to those parasites, whatever you do. And some people use zappers, some people use MMS, hydrogen peroxide. They never worked for me. I had the fenbendazole and the ivermectin. So I'm sharing today some very, very powerful truth, folks. I hope you appreciate it. Don't take it for granted, as I took the love of my life and the most beautiful treasure that has ever been bestowed upon me, Violet May Brown, my true goddess and saviour. She saved me 3 times, and this is what I want to end with, because I mentioned it before, and I said I was going to explain it, how she calls me her saviour, because I gave her syncretism and I saved her from, she was in a very toxic state, coming from a very toxic relationship when her mother pushed her to watch my videos. And bless that day, and bless her goddess mother, Danielle. Oh, she's such a beautiful woman. Danielle Flowers on Facebook. I hope I don't embarrass her.
Ah, never.
But I called her my saviour because she called me beautiful for the first time, and she loved me unconditionally, which I've never had before. And for that, she was my saviour. Secondly, she saved me because she forgave me every single time I rejected her beautiful, perfect love. And thirdly, because she forgave me after I blocked her and cursed her and told her never to look for me again. And yet she rang me on the phone, she called me on Skype, she unblocked me, she begged me and begged me and begged me. Why are you doing this to me? I love you. I love you forever. And she said she would forever speak well of me, so I'm going to do the same. And I hope she's going to be blessed with a new relationship. And whatever she does, I don't care. And I bless her, eternally. And her family, I'm sad that I didn't go there in May like I was going to and meet them. I was really looking forward to that. I feel like they're my family. There's definitely DNA connection there. There really is. First time I saw Violet at the airport, she mirrored me in her movements, and that's why her mother said, watch his videos, he looks like you and he acts like you. Her actions were absolutely deja vu. I thought, man, this woman's from past lives. And I felt it. It was the most beautiful hug I've ever had in my life, and I'll keep it forever. And I kissed her on the cheek, and it was the best kiss of all. And it was the most beautiful energy we had, and I took her home and we fell in love. And I've got that to treasure. Aren't I a lucky boy, Jay? Thank you, brother.
Wow. Well, yes. You just actually, I'm going to do something. I actually made a poem about that, the sex documentary, and I'm coming in clear, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'd like to perform that for those and encourage people. Your hippocampus in etymology means hippity hoppity. So that means that you're all rappers, and that your story about what Santos is talking about with sex, which I'll also add to what he said about what I think King Kansa means, the killer of his children. If you rhyme, it's easier to remember. So I like to dedicate this poem to everyone, Santos and everyone that he loves, and hopefully I won't mess it up, but here it goes. Masculine L, Elohim Bell, United Sexes, Elohim fell. Off the wagon as Igor's dragon, kill the urge of sexual bragging. Oh my God, man is yard, Heva mother Jehovah rod. Hebrew word translated odd, no foundation in Yesod. Greek gnosis, not as closeness, Hebrew dath, hidden prognosis. Crotudini, Kundalini, coiled one. Reptile genie, orgasmic apple, Snow White, dreamy, 7 inverted, virtues murdered, Kunda buffer. Extroverted, a telltale of Satan's flail. Mem, Shin, fire, water, Moshe, Moses, son and daughter. Hava, HVH, Eve, Trotter. Adamaya, spirit and father. Yeshua, why HVH, Jesus, Savior, Hebrew faith. Christos, fire, Greek is great. Christ is burning, not too late. MDA, Adam state, numeric value, 9 all day. 4041, let's all pray. 144,000, chakra play. 12 tribes, 12 body, function, snakes, Israelites biting something, Moses make, bronze snake, copper and tin, Venus bake, Venus, Jupiter, unity stake, feminine, masculine, alchemy break, Alice God, chemist fuse, Arabic, Greek be one with muse. Hare Krishna to Santos Bonacci. That's my gift to you. Now, after doing this performance of that poem, I just had an aha moment with Santos. He mentioned 9 several times. Now, I'm also into numerology. I do readings, and anyone that wants a reading from me with the name and the vibration and your octave, please, I just charge $40 for your name and your birth numbers. But it's very important to understand the number 9 is your Navagrahas, and Santos Bonacci's name equals 9. So it's very interesting how he's mentioned 9 and 6. These numbers are everyone's number. Your body is a number. You have a bicep is 2, darn it. Tricep is 3. You are all the heroes. You are all the demons in the story, in which King Kansa now, I just realized that when King Kansa, this low creation, low octave of your Saturn, in which you're living in a world of 7. So the octave equals 7 for Saturn now, but the octave of Jupiter, your high one, is also 7 because he's in the Tropic of Capricorn, ruled by his own lower form, but he's so humble. Why I have to be humble, why I have to forgive. Jupiter, Jesus, the man who says, go and kill your brother, is willing to go in hell and sit in Sagittarius. We're in a sagittal plane, darn it, and Arjun, the archer, is everyone. You have an L bow, you are an archer, the bow is your arm. That's the place of Arjun, who lost everything, and then he's in Pisces, which is Violet's sign as well, the feet. In ballet, it's called fifth position, where 2 feet go different ways, and I blow people's minds with that one, because if you go and Google your Pisces, it is the Jesus fish. Now, when King Kansa, your lower octave of 7, when he kills his 6 children, I am going to now assume this would be the ejaculation. This would be him letting him out, because he was very cruel, he was very low frequency, and of course your stars have a dim sum, they have a Ursa Major, and an Ursa Minor. I'm not damning my stars, but we have to be clear. The story is already starting with problems, land. What is the land is your brain. Cortex is bark of the tree. So the Pandavas are fighting the Kauruvas, the family of the King Kansas, but they're related now. But they're all the same thing, because when you say you raise your kundalini from your balls, your sperm, you're bringing them to your damn land. That's your head is the cortex bark of tree. When everyone goes outside, y'all, that is your brain. Why the chemtrails are very important to acknowledge, and not to say, hey, whatever. Why it's very important to acknowledge the GMOs in your food, putting your DNA back to King Kansa, inverting you. Your eyes are all in your phone. I have compassion. But we're bringing our cell phones in the sauna, bringing our cell phones into sweaty, watery situations. We're driving, willing to die for L, electronic, the lower form back to King Kansa, or your Kim Kardashian of today. Now, King Kansa is so-called killing his children. Well, watch what happens with King Kansa. 7th child and the 8th one get away, meaning that when you get pregnant, it's usually one hero, one wriggling sperm out of millions that goes to the egg, goes to the head of that woman, to that womb. She has 2 heads now. Her brain is feeding that damn baby as the baby is feeding the brain. So women who get pregnant, I encourage you, please watch your diet. Please watch the person you are with. Be careful, no negative energy, because that child is already going through hell inside, trying to find itself. It might get choked. There is choking mentioned in your Mahabharata. There's wrestling in India where they do choking and wrestling. And it's 2 men wrestling. So homophobia, how people? Let go of the over alpha male. Love everyone the same. So when these children escape this killer, King Kansa, which is him, I believe, ejaculating and being lustful, of course, trying to find himself. Children play with their pee-pee all day. When I first realized that I had the ability to let my thing out, didn't know what I was doing. I had no father, abusive mother, who I also love. My mother also did very good things for me. That was my way of loving myself and dealing with trauma. So when I figured that out, y'all, I was in bliss. I was like, yes. But then, of course, I was tired. Of course, I was drained. Of course, I was getting more defensive. And even though I had the light of Krishna inside of me and Shiva, I was very confused. And I was always using that as a crutch, letting it out like King Kansa, which means the 7th and the 8th little wiggling sperms that got away. 7th one got into a womb. It went into another woman's damn body to protect herself from this evil lower. Everyone has a low form, y'all. It's, as Santos has said, Kunda Buffer, who is Buffy the Vampire Slayer. What is getting buff, you macho men? I have compassion. But buff is not your muscles. Me and Santos aren't very muscular, but we're very strong with our words, and that can calm anyone down and save a life, as opposed to pulling the gun out. Any race, you gangsters, be careful. You are killing your own brothers. It's very simple. The 7th one goes into a womb, must be a sperm, and the 8th one. There's 2 sides to every story. Is your bicep now. Adam and Eve would be your 7th and 8th. 8th is Krishna. 7 is Shiva. Now, here's where it gets complicated for us today. We're living in the octave of 7. Everything is 7. All your rappers, I don't damn them. The Illuminati, that's my enemy. I have to respect my enemy because they gave this reality. All your performers, even I was dancing ballet, the Nutcracker, nut Egyptian for the sky. I was dancing in 7s and 8s. Wow, funny. 7 and 8, of course. 8 would be your meniscus and your 88 constellations and Jupiter. But what's tricky is Jupiter is the 6th chakra in which King Kansa was letting go of his seed very wildly, which means that we as a human form, in two different parts, as a Saturn and as a Jupiter octave now. It's our duty to look at our sevens today very carefully. You have a 7 pH balance. That is Ptah. That's tricky. That's a Pada. That's Shiva, the one who's King Kansa and killed Jupiter's family. And then you have the pH, Ptah. Well, that's Egyptian for the path, for Jupiter. Well, Jupiter is very humble. Jupiter, amazingly, like most folks can't do it today. He talks to the rapist and the victim the same as friends. This is intense. But he also tells you to have war. But then your Pandava said no. The people said no, Krishna, we don't want to kill, which Krishna could have killed them for that, which means maybe it's the people, Santos, that might have taught the high mind how to meditate, which of course it would be, because the Pandavas are also a little bit of a lower form of Jupiter, trying to figure himself out. The octave 7 is in your nose, people. So your sexual energy, yes, your septum nose is 7. You have 7 fused bones, awesome. Pisces in your feet, where Venus, and you have Jupiter, and you have the Tropic of Capricorn. It's very important for us to understand what pornography is. It is XXX. I have this problem still. I don't do it as much. But after what Santos just said, I'm going to be more serious about it, because XXX, 24th letter, is the 666 children. That's your King Kansa, which is you and me and everyone here. We can't be damning the demons in mythology and say, oh my God, that's where I believe Christians and Arabs go wrong. They literalize it, and they create guilt. They shame gay people. They shame people who are trying to figure out their sexual damn body. No, they are trying to find their 7 and 8. They are trying to embrace their Satan and their path, because Jupiter and Satan are one and the same, but they're not the same. Meaning there's rules to your 7s. Your 7 goes to your nose. Your 7 does not go down to your foot. There's not just one 7. You have 3 7. You have a Boeing Jet 777. Your spine, like Santos said, damn it, is a C7. So beautiful build here. When you raise your chrism, when you get out of King Kansa, yep, all of us have it. The minute we had that hot thing, I don't care if it was a female or a male, or if it was a new damn car. A lot of men love their cars and call them she. And if you scratch that car, they will beat you up or kill you. But if you call their woman a slut, they'll laugh at you. Well, shame on the alpha male. That's abuse. And then women have to heal and not get revenge, right? There's a lot of spite.
Yeah.
Know the numbers. So your 8, back to your 8. It's important to understand the figure 8, because the head and the balls is the figure 8. And when you have another figure in bed with you that understands how to breathe and bring up that low form, that killer, all killing instinct is the penis. The gun symbol, my people, bullet for the sperm. The gun is the obelisk of Ophiuchus, which is the serpent tamer. It's not serpent ejaculator or serpent whack you in your head. It's a man over your head holding, like Santos, holding, breathing with a very powerful Pythagoras. It's almost impossible to do that, but you got people that know how to tame serpents. So I'm going to end that one there and let Santos, we're at 33 minutes. I'll let Santos, if you want to add what I said, or please.
Oh, beautiful, brother. What you just did was you just related what all the stories are telling. This story of how we, the prodigal son, depart from a point of everlasting glory in the realm of eternity, of everlasting life, and we depart and we come into incarnation, into a cycle of necessity, and we embody the hero, the Jesus, and the Word was made flesh. And Christ is in the flesh. This is the Christ in you, Colossians 1:26, 27. The Christ in you. And this is why all the Gospels are pointing to this, even the fairy tales. They're all talking about it. Jacob climbing the ladder. This is the spinal column, when you lift up the serpent and you control, like Saint Michael, that dragon, and you keep your foot on his head. And as it comes up, your orgasm is slow and powerful, and it builds. It builds through the chakras. And as it gets in the heart chakras, your partner feels it.
Nice.
And then it goes into the throat and you're communicating. And then it goes into third eye and you become one.
Wow.
And I felt that. I felt that only with Violet. And so she knows what this means. And so when you are doing this and you become one, you don't hurt each other. Now, I violated I violated that principle, folks, and I knew that. You know, I've been in oneness with Violet, and yet I pushed her away. I was pushing myself away. Watch that you don't do this, friends, listeners. Please treat them nice, because life will go good for you. And I want to share something very, very personal that I said once to Violet. I said to everything I've done in my life and all this syncretism I did to get you, and I got you. And she got me. And she got deepest in my heart that anyone ever has. So I've been blessed. And how I did that was I put my energy out, and that's how powerful you are. And Violet did the same. She did many things in her life to manifest me, including reaching out to me for the first time in a Facebook message. Very courageous. She's very shy, you know. And she got me. And this is what you will get, folks. You'll meet your twin. You know, I've been blessed. I've been blessed with a holy matrimony, and I've practiced it. You know? When I was with my first wife, I was telling people that I was practicing this kind of sex, and you know, she has people have no way of reaching her to verify whether I was, you know, walking my talk. But Violet is a witness, you know, to our intimacy and what kind of intimacy it was. And surely without using any contraceptives, which you wouldn't want to do because you harm yourself, or, you know, you can say goodbye to the abortion industry. You know? Ejaculators are funding the abortion industry. Okay? They are funding also the contraceptive industry, etc. We can have a better world by learning this kind of sex. And imagine how powerful we would all be if we could harness this power up the spine. There's a Thai master, I think he comes from Indonesia somewhere, or Thailand, a man who, with his hand, he can make fire. And he says that you get this energy from the bottom of the kundalini at the perineum, that muscle that I said you squeeze. And he said you squeeze that muscle and you have all the power you need to do whatever you want with your hands. And also, Bruce Lee spoke about this muscle. And also, Paco de Lucia, the greatest flamenco guitarist of all time, was asked once, well, how do you get your speed? And he said, I squeeze my muscles below. And he used a very cheeky Spanish term, el culo, los músculos del culo. And so, you know, he says he tightens his bottom muscles and he gets his speed. Because why? Because you tap into the magnetic energy, not the electrical energy. Magnetism is the pulse which radiates and generates the sine wave, the sinusoidal wave. And that is electricity or electromagnetism. But magnetism, magnitude, our Mother who art in heaven, is the force of the pulse. It's a pulse wave universe, folks. It's not a particle wave universe. And this is the energy that you harness from the perineum, from the base. You've got to go down to earth where Mother is. It's the feminine chakra, okay? And the masculine one is the sacral, the sexual, the second chakra, the orange one, okay? That's the sacral chakra. And then there's a solar plexus above it where your power comes from. But the bottom chakra there, that's the foundation. You've got to tap into that, get rooted. All right? That's the secret. And that's why when you're having sex, you control down there. That's the muscle. And then you start building up some energy, build up that force, you don't have to be thrusting here, guys. You can just stay still in the tantric position, and it'll build up. It's a dream. It's the way to happiness, and it's the way to bring happiness into the relationship. That's how probably Violet was able to stay so long with me, knowing that we had that, because when we achieved our happiness, it was the greatest happiness there ever was. And I want that for everybody, folks. I no longer have Violet, and I'm going to be living with that. I once fell in love with a girl about 20 years ago. It took 16 years to get her out of my heart, and I was never intimate with that girl. I only had a few conversations with her, but I knew she loved me, and she knew I loved her. But enemies were around and destroyed it. And it took until I met Violet after 16 years to remove the pain of that girl. And now I've been intimate with Violet, and she's been so beautiful to me, and I know that I'll never forget her.
That's a good place for me. We're at 41 minutes. Do you mind if I just sort of say some finishing words? Go ahead.
Yeah, but I just want to finish off, please.
Yeah, sure.
This is very, very important, okay?
Sure.
Because everyone's going to benefit from this.
Sure.
What was I saying? Do you remember the last?
You were talking about a person that you were with before and didn't work out. There were enemies and violence. Yeah.
Okay. So I know it's going to be there forever. And I need to be blessing Violet, whomever she's with, because she's free. I never owned her and I never lost her. I've got her forever. I know that. I got her with my syncretism. I put the net out. I put the waters on the bread on the waters, as it says in the Song of Solomon, the book of Proverbs. And I got her. I got my reward, because I said to her, Violet, that all I want is her as my reward for any good that I've ever done. And I got her. I got my reward. And I always said that she was my reward and treasure for my syncretism that's helped many people. So I want to be thankful for that, and I want people to, everyone, to have what I have, that memory and that experience. So be powerful, manifest your twin, and then when you do, if you want to hang on to them, treat them well.
Wow, that's 43 minutes. Can I thank you for giving your heart? I'm going to say Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Shiva Boom, Om Jai. Santos, Violet, everyone trying to figure themselves out. I'm grateful that Santos was brave enough. This is not easy to do. We should all commend this individual for coming out and really revealing his soul. You know what I mean? A lot of truthers are very popular today. They're hard to get a hold of. They're very hard-edged. Santos seems to be the only one, from my understanding, that I feel that has the common sense to at least acknowledge and come down and show some tears. And we all cry. We're all human. Doesn't matter how smart we are. Doesn't matter how much money or what the new phone is. Whatever the hell we think that we need to love ourselves, date ourselves. And when you find the right one that's dated themselves, you two love yourselves. Don't let anyone get in the way, because that's the one you were supposed to have. I lost my first love, Scorpio, Luminita, because my mom told me I could not have a white girlfriend, and my mom is white. But I love my mom, but it is what it is. So I'm dealing with that loss. And she might have been my first love forever, because we actually have the same flow like you and Violet. Back when I was 17, 18. So yeah, you never forget your first one, y'all. So remember your first one. I encourage you all to do that. Go to your first kiss, your first hug, the first time you felt comfortable, and be humble. And with these last 30 seconds, I'm going to say, love yourselves, and thank you very much, Santos Bonacci. So we end it there. Okay.